Peace. Infinite waters diving deep once again. We're here in nature, breathing in that beautiful prana. How to be alone without feeling lonely. You will never walk alone again. Can I get a hello there? Someone wrote into us asking, why do they feel alone when they are in the presence of other people? And how can they remove that feeling of loneliness? They go into work, but they can't connect with anybody at work. Even certain friends they have, they feel lonely around them. What can they do? Let me share with you what's helped me along my journey, because, boy, I can tell you a lot about that. Now, a lot of us on planet Earth, we want to seem like everything is going wonderfully. And sometimes it's not. No, it's far from perfect, right? You go into work, everybody's having a good chit chat, but you don't feel comfortable to relax. You feel lonely. You feel isolated. I get a lot of questions from indigos, crystals, rainbows, the new children of the new generation. They say it's a wonderful gift to have this information, this level of awareness, but sometimes they feel alone. They feel lonely. What happened to me? Now, you probably see me always smiling, right? In front of a camera, I'm sharing, maybe you've had a consultation with me, I'm also smiling. But when I first started, it was a whole nother story. I was like a lamb lost in the woods. I felt alone. Why? Because nobody was talking about becoming your greatest version. Maybe a handful of people, if that. So here I was, feeling I was talking to nobody. Plus, I had to go to work and I felt like I couldn't fit in. You see, in our society, we are raised to believe and think that you have to fit in. Because of that, many of us find it very uncomfortable to be in the company of ourselves. I can't stand myself. I want to run away from myself. I wrote down a long time ago, the human being is on the run from itself. What happened to me? Many years ago, I would be sitting down and all of these thoughts from nowhere would be coming into my mind. I said, I don't want to experience that again. Okay, so I'm going to talk to a group of friends, even if I don't really resonate with them. How many of us are in a relationship right now because we don't want to be alone? What I call a relationship of convenience. No, we're not going to get a hello for that. How many of us are just nodding our heads when our friends are talking, but we're not really in the conversation? Our heart isn't in there. So, what did I do? I let go of all the resistance I had to being alone. Changed my life forever. Now, I actually embrace the gift of being alone and I never feel lonely. You see, there's a difference between being alone and being isolated. Being alone is where you reconnect back to the wholeness of who you are. You've heard the great paradox, right? I had to be alone to find myself, to become whole. When you are isolated, you are separate from your wholeness. That is why you can be in the presence of other people, but still feel isolated. Many times I spend about 70% of the day, breathing in that beautiful prana, baby, in nature. Sometimes I'm alone. I'm meditating. I'm reconnecting back to the elements. So I never feel alone. Why? Because I see the plants. I reconnect back to the prana. I ground myself on planet Earth, on Gaia. So I'm fully connected. But more so because I've changed my belief system. We are never alone. The universe always sends someone. What happens when we feel we are lonely? When we feel we are alone? Well, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Why? Because word is bond. So you've got to start changing your words. What I did a long time ago, I still do it. I will always meet my reflections. And that's what's happened. When you find yourself in a desert, there's no water around, there's no food around, be grateful. Why? Because now you can get to know who you are. Because for a long time, you've had your running shoes on, right? Your running trainers on. You've been trying to get away from yourself. Now, you got to dive deep. You got to see certain things about yourself you may not want to see. You may not want to take a look at. But it's too bad, because now this is where the reintegration takes place. What helped me along my journey? I actually overcame my panic attacks and my anxiety by surrendering to being alone, by not always going in the direction of the crowd, but creating my own trail. You have to be super brave to be alone. That's why a lot of us don't want to be alone. I don't blame you, right? And you don't have to. We'll come to that later. When I was alone, how I let go of that feeling of being lonely, I used this as a moment, wonderful moment, to work on myself. I said, gosh, I've got a lot of time on my hands. That's wonderful. I've got a lot of time to think. Time is your most valuable asset. Be thankful if you've got a lot of it. Training, reconnection, self-acceptance, self-love. All that comes when you take a trip into the forest by yourself. What happens, okay, when you lose your mobile phone? It's a nightmare, right? You're having a panic attack and then you find it in your pocket. Don't worry about it. What happens when certain friends aren't around? I have a lot of friends who they work so much all the time, right? And because of that, we don't have the highest resonance anymore. So what happened? I reconnected with new friends by sharing myself with the world. The more you become a content creator, the more you start to share your innate gifts with the world, you start attracting your connection, your reflections. You start finding your community. Therefore, even if you are alone, you got to smile like this. Don't worry about it. Because when I go home, I'm going to connect with the most amazing people in the world. But you see, when we talk of becoming more social, that's what we're talking about here. A lot of us, we're always waiting for people to come up to us, right? How many times have you seen someone? Maybe you're outside, you're on the beach, you're in the park, you're walking down the road, and you really want to talk to them. But you got a belief system that says everybody has to approach me first. It's no wonder you're going to feel lonely. Why not a random act of kindness? That is probably one of the greatest ways to not feel alone. Whenever I'm skating in Venice, I always stop skating and I walk down and I always go and talk to the people selling stuff. Amazing stories to tell they have. I've also got a few myself, right? You enter these amazing conversations with so-called strangers. There are no strangers, my friend. We are all connected. Once you realize that secret, you will never walk alone again. When you have the gratitude consciousness, do you know how fortunate you are to be alive? Can I get a hello there? Yeah. But you see, many times when we feel lonely, it's because we're blaming ourselves. We don't appreciate ourselves. The more you start to respect yourself and realize how far you've come, also realize that to work on a dream and a vision, you might have to go through the desert to really perfect your craft and inner mastery. Embrace the gift, embrace the gift, embrace the gift, and you will find your reflections. But more so, you will surrender to the truth of who you are, and you will never feel lonely again. We're in nature, just chillaxing. Have a wonderful day. We're out here, infinite waters, diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace.